Hey there, it's comedian Jerry Rocha, and today I'm going all in on the gimmick and I'm ranking my top 5 all-time favorite Legend of Zelda games. I got my Zelda hat on. I've got my Zelda hoodie on. I've got my Zelda COVID mask on. The shit's been too long. If you saw my video last week, and I thank you if you did, or if you've ever spent more than 2 minutes talking to me, you know just how much I love the Legend of Zelda franchise. And now I've taken on the impossible task of ranking my 5 favorites. Now this could change. It changed twice while I was writing it. I could do one once every 7 months because this will change as you're watching it. I may start an OnlyFans page where I take 5 different photos of me in different Legend of Zelda thongs that represent the newest 5 in my top 5. But until that day, here we go. Number 5. The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. I've done a Retro Rocha the Moment, my very first Retro Rocha the Moment video, shameless plug, all about how much I love the moment where Link gets a Master Sword in this game. I could do about 40 different The Moment videos all about this game. Like the fucking dead kid playing the flute in the woods. Or how the Fairy Fountain song could totally have it. I know those are just 2, but I have other games on this list to get to. A Link to the Past would be the Legend of Zelda game I would tell anyone who's never played a Legend of Zelda game to play first. It's the pot before you're shooting heroin right into your nuts. Or vagina. We're not going to discriminate here. A Link to the Past took everything great about the first Legend of Zelda game and made it better. Way better. It's like how the Honeymooners and I Love Lucy did so much for sitcoms, but we never really saw the true promise of how great sitcoms could be until we got out of this world. That's what A Link to the Past is. The out of this world of sitcoms for Zelda games. What? A Link to the Past is still the best gift I've ever gotten. I still remember looking at that box, knowing there is just something amazing waiting for me once I open this. It was like ripping open that first issue of Jugs. You were able to sneak past the 7-Eleven employee who didn't really give a shit about a minor buying porn anyway. Okay, the Ewok village and that Mr. T lunch pail with a thermos are up there too. So A Link to the Past is at least in the top 3 all-time gifts I've ever gotten. Okay, well, your call is very important to us. Number 4. We'll be with you shortly. The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. Ooh, the divisive one, huh? The Rodimus Prime, the Tony Romo of the Legend of Zelda games. The one that one person thought wasn't that good, and then another person was like, by the time he got an offensive line, his back was toast. And he was cursed by banging Jessica Simpson in the first place. I loved every second of The Wind Waker, from the adorable cartoonish aesthetic to the depressingness of how most of this land of Hyrule that I'd loved so much was now just completely engulfed in water, to how the cuteness aesthetic comes crashing down at the end when adorable little cutesy cartoon Link buries the fucking Master Sword right into Ganon's forehead. It's like you're watching that Fern Gully movie, but then at the very end it goes full on Stallone and Cobra. I remember how much my little cousin loved watching me play The Wind Waker. And I remember when I got to the end, I'm like, hey, come in here. I'm about to kill Ganon. Hurry, look. And then he ran in to see Link kill him the way Link did. And not to air my family business, but my cousin has been in and out of juvie and jail ever since. Yeah, I feel partly to blame because I remember one time he called me in middle school and was like, hey, Jerry, I have a crush on this girl, but she's got a boyfriend. I don't know what to do. And the only advice I could think to give was, oh yeah, you do to that motherfucking boyfriend what Link did to Ganon, brother. That's what you do. So maybe a lot of that's on me. I don't know about you, darling, but that sure looks like number 3 to me. The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Woo! Damn near the godfather of all video games. Nobody would be mad for putting this one at number 1. In fact, most people are going to be mad that I don't have this at number 1. But as brilliant as it is, there's just 2 I like a little better. But let's talk about how great Ocarina of Time is. It was the perfect coming together of every Legend of Zelda game that preceded it. Yes, my favorite moment of the Master Sword came in A Link to the Past when Link retrieves it, but holy shit, how dope and cinematic was it in Ocarina of Time when Link wakes up in the Temple of Time, now an adult, magically not having to deal with any awkwardness of puberty, and he just walks over and gets that sword out, and you're like, oh, well, if it's on, motherfucker, then it's on, G. Just like Eazy-E. If there was anything Jim Ross should have called outside of professional wrestling, it should have been when Adult Link got the Master Sword in Ocarina of Time. Everything about Ocarina of Time still holds up beautifully. And this is a Nintendo 64 game. Most Nintendo 64 games hold up about as well as Blondie rapping. The other Hyrulean races got their time in the sun. The Gorons were dope. The Gerudo, awesome. The Zoras, the fish people, finally got a hey, how about we not make them look like shit makeover? And I love how, since obviously the ocarina was the major part of the game, how music was such in the forefront of this game too. One day, my dream is to own a car that I can program to start and drive towards me when I just stand outside and go, ooh, ooh, ooh. And the songs were very kick-ass, simple melodies, quick. They weren't some 12-minute Bob Dylan singing about a Renaissance fair shit like in all the Lord of the Rings books. Fuck. Does everybody sing a fucking song in this? Well, why don't we let the ring wraiths come in here and do a fucking number while we're at it? This was also the game that finally made Ganon look way cooler than just a giant pig. It's the game that splits the entire series into 3 different timelines. It's everything you could ever ask for in a Legend of Zelda game. But again, like I said, there's just 2 more that I enjoyed a little better. Something is wrong.
Number 2.
The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. I went there. Oh yeah, I went there. You saw it. You heard it. I'm taking this one over Ocarina of Time. I'm not saying it's a better game, I just enjoyed it more. If the Ocarina of Time was a culmination of all the great Zelda games that came before it, then this one was like, okay, we've done that, now let's get fucking weird. You mean like Link's Awakening weird? No. I mean fucking weird. I mean Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me weird, but Legend of Zelda. That's the weird I fucking mean. You have 3 days to stop some masked up psycho skull kid who is dropping a fucking moon to wipe out the land of Termina. And yes, I know that's the exact plot of the Kelly Clarkson, Justin Guarini movie, but I'm telling you, this one's better. It does it better. Ocarina of Time is a damned masterpiece, but Majora's Mask is like looking at that masterpiece through the fevered dream lens of a brilliant artist. It's like if after Metallica dropped the Black Album, they just let a bunch of Tuvan monks come over and hum the whole thing, and it was just as good, if not better. I got the game expecting Ocarina of Time Part 2, but instead, I got Jodorowsky's Ocarina of Time. And if the Evil Moon and the Skull Kid weren't enough, they also throw at you the coolest Link ever, this fierce deity Link with this badass fucking crazy war paint on. There's even a quest where you fight off an alien invasion on a ranch. When I first played the game, I did not like it at all. I was completely out on it. I was like, where the fuck's Ganon? 3 days to stop a moon? This ain't the Legend of Zelda I done grew up with. I'm gonna throw a fucking tantrum like every other fucking nerd fan who can't stand it when things are different than what they expect. But then if things go too similar, then they also... And after I fought through all of that, I was like, holy shit, this is a fucking masterpiece. This is the Grease 2 of the Legend of Zelda games, and I'm all there for it.
Number 1.
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. What else was I gonna put? What else but this was I gonna put at my favorite Legend of Zelda game of all time? If you don't know me by now. If Ocarina of Time was like watching an AFL or NFL championship game back in the day, Breath of the Wild was the fucking Super Bowl. It took what Ocarina of Time did, except with all the games. It just put all the great things about every Legend of Zelda game that came before it and made it into one amazing package. The vast empty ocean of the Wind Waker is just replaced by a vast empty chunk of land, and you really realize the sadness of how everything in Hyrule has gone to shit. I have a whole Jerry Breaks the Game video, another shameless plug, all about how much I love this game, breaking down the story, and if you want to watch it, well, I'm not gonna stop you. I still haven't finished the DLC for this game because I don't want it to end. I'm gonna somehow hope and time finishing the DLC so I'm done a day before Breath of the Wild 2 comes out. That's the only way I can live with it. Breath of the Wild was like a love letter written by Nintendo to all the fans of the Legend of Zelda franchise, touching upon all the things that made us love the games in the first place, which is way better than an actual love letter from the fans, because that would probably result in a lot of restraining orders. So there it is. You have it. My top 5 all-time Legend of Zelda video games. If you enjoyed this video, and I hope you did, please do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel. Hit that little bell so you're notified every time a video comes out. Spread the word, and the more you do that, the less I have to break your balls about it at the end of every one of these. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time.